Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It is good. It is very good. Having a lot of fun. Well, doing a lot of resining and stuff like that. And it's like the whole court system woke up.
Oh,
The
man.
holiday season is finally over.
Yeah.
And some shit is going down in
Hmm.
so many cases that have had nothing happening in them. Oh, man, I
Yeah.
thought I fixed my bangs before. Damn it.
Yeah, the proverbial shit's hitting the fan in court today. Wow.
Right? Yeah, it's been very interesting. It's been quite a true crime day.
Yeah, it has, for sure. Every time, time one of my kids calls me, what are you doing? I'm listening to a hearing. I gotta go.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Sorry,
You're
man. I
busy
have
right
no
now.
time. Yeah.
Everybody's in court. Everybody's, yeah. Comeuppance is occurring with all of these idiots. That's what we want.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of these idiots, I think you're going to kick us off with a little tea about Adam Montgomery.
Yeah, I sure am.
Okay.
So, Adam Montgomery, who is the father of Harmony Montgomery, if you shall recall, Harmony was unfortunately one of the 4-year-olds that went missing in 2020. Here's a picture of Adam and Harmony. So Adam, as we know, has finally been charged in her death. There are two cases against Adam, and the first is an assault charge against him that was witnessed by a family member prior to Harmony's death. So it doesn't really have anything to do with her death. It's a separate case. So
Hmm.
he had agreed to combine the two cases and do the assault charge and the murder together.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? He's changed his mind. He doesn't really like that idea now because he's supposed to be going to trial in February.
Right.
And now he, and through his attorney, has come back and asked the judge to please sever these two cases again. He wants to be tried separately on them.
Ugh,
And
why?
so I think stalling, there wasn't really a good reason given other than that's just what he wants.
Hmm.
The judge has not ruled on it yet, but likely they will. I mean, I don't know. What they're asking for is to try him first on the assault charges and then second on the murder because the assault charges actually happened before, like
Hmm.
a long time before
Right.
the other charges. And so I don't know. It's very frustrating. I really wish that we could just get this asshole. But, in the midst of all of this, they still have not found Harmony's body.
Right.
If there even is anything to find, which we
It
don't
sure
know.
doesn't seem like it.
No, it doesn't. And it's just,
He
I don't
was
know. I
doing all
find it,
kinds of horrifying things to break her body down and things.
yes, he was.
So,
He
do you think
purchased a
it's
saw.
possible that this is because they figure he probably will get pegged for the assault because there is a witness on that? Of course,
I
there's a witness on
guess,
her murder too. I just wonder if they think that
right.
he probably will get pegged for the assault, but maybe they can actually get him off on the murder charge, so they don't want him linked,
Or they're just
or vice
prolonging the
versa.
inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. The judge hasn't ruled on it yet. But that is what they are asking for. And he originally had the choice about whether to have these cases combined or not. And he
Mhm.
said he agreed to it. So that's the thing that I'm not sure about with the judge. Is the judge going to come back and say, listen, jackass, you already agreed to this. We already have a trial scheduled. We're not fucking around with this anymore.
Mhm.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I sure wish they could find Harmony's body for the sake of her mother and her other family members and
Mhm.
be able to lay her to rest. And also so that we can be sure that this guy never sees the light of day because he definitely should not ever see the light of day.
Mhm.
But that's what's up with Adam Montgomery. So if they do sever. Likely he will still go to trial in February on the assault charge,
Mhm.
but not the murder charge.
Okay. Ugh.
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
so sick of Adam Montgomery.
Yeah. You and me and everybody else.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So, with
Okay.
that, I am going to kick the mic back to you for our main case, which I know is an update in the Murdaugh situation.
Mhm. Well, as you all know, this rancid bag of mayonnaise left out in the sun too long
Yes.
is Alex Murdaugh. And
Hmm.
Alex, of course, was convicted for murdering his wife and his son back in 2023.
Right.
And his case has been a roller coaster from the jump. He also finally
Hmm.
did plead guilty to all of those financial crimes later in 2023. So, I mean, he's
Right.
sitting in prison for the rest of his life at this point.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully.
his attorneys are working overtime to try to get him a new trial on the murder charges. Why? Because this happened in Colleton County, South Carolina. And the court clerk is a woman who's named Becky Hill. And they are claiming that Becky Hill had some malfeasance, that Becky Hill actually managed to sway the jury or instruct the jury improperly, and that because of those things, that Alex deserves a new trial.
Right.
They've also been wildly digging for any dirt on Becky Hill they could possibly get. And as it turns out, Becky is not squeaky clean at all. Becky's made some mistakes.
Oh boy. She sure has.
Becky she wrote a book, which is not done by a court clerk, but she did. Not illegal, but it's kind of eyebrow raising.
Doesn't
Uh,
look good for sure.
it doesn't at the conclusion of the trial. And then it was discovered that part of that book was plagiarized. So it's been pulled from the shelves, is on an indefinite hold, probably won't ever see the light of day again.
Right.
And her son also worked for the county clerk's office or the county's office, the court for a while, and has been fired and arrested for some illegal doings. She is being accused of destroying some evidence or some electronics being wiped or disappearing. There's several things right now that are kind of stacking up as far as Becky Hill is concerned. And
Hmm.
it's really concerning because ain't nobody wants to see Alex get a new trial, for Christ's sake.
Right. I mean, did he not get enough of the limelight the first time around?
And yet, if it's true and what Becky did is and what she's being accused of doing was done, well, then by law, deserves a new trial. It's a really hard one for me because I don't want him to have a new trial. He doesn't even deserve that unless his rights were violated, and then he does. But we have all listened to Dick Harpootlian and Jim, his ride or die, uh, stand up and pontificate and point fingers. They had their press conference in which they said that the jurors better get an attorney. The jurors better get an attorney.
What the
In this
hell?
country, you could, after sitting on a jury, then have to find and pay for an attorney to help you through the quagmire of this kind of bullshit. It's
That's
all
such crap.
very wrong. Yeah.
That is. That is not right.
So some attorneys did step up and offered to take on some of the jurors pro bono, which is wonderful. Because why
Yeah.
should jurors? These are just regular people that may or may not be able to afford an attorney. They've also
Right.
done nothing wrong.
No, they've
Oh,
done
they
nothing
need
wrong.
an
They should
attorney?
attorneys should be have to be appointed for them if they need an attorney
Hmm.
because they're not charged with anything. What the hell?
Hmm. It's horrifying. It's bad because who's going to want to be a juror at this point? Who?
Right. Right. If you're facing this kind of bullshit,
Hmm.
these people
So,
showed up every day and listened to all that bullshit, out of Pooter and Alec for that whole
mhm.
damn time,
So
made
what
their
they
decision, and now
had,
this. Jesus.
right. So what they had were affidavits or some of what their statements had been, and I think they might have cleaned those up now, but were uh, people in their office that had spoken to someone who said this, and so they signed an affidavit. Like it was all real sus, but basically
What?
what they
Yeah.
had is an affidavit from one of the jurors that deliberated who says that yes, Becky said some things that might have indicated she thought that Alex was guilty. Uh, they are claiming that she told the jurors that Alex is guilty and that they needed to make it quick in the jury room in deliberations. So one
Okay.
person says, yeah, she might have said something like that. The other two people that are saying that, yeah, maybe she said some of those things didn't deliberate. One of them was the egg lady.
Oh, yes, the egg lady.
So the egg lady was one of the jurors who was dismissed because it was found that she had a discussion with her tenants about the case while it was going on.
Right. I'd forgotten that she'd gotten dismissed.
And she has said that, yes, she thinks that Becky Hill said some things that were out of pocket. And then the other person is an alternative juror that was also dismissed. And so they only
So
have,
neither of them were even deliberating at the time of. So does
yeah,
this matter?
does it matter? Well, today I would say that the Pooter met his match in court because, as we also know, the judge that sat over the original trial recused himself. And then the courts actually said this has to go to the Supreme Court. Like, you can't come to the same court where this happened. You got to go above that. So
Right.
here we are. So please meet this baddie.
Yes, I was so happy it was a woman. That's the best.
This is Judge Jean Toll, and she
Go, Judge
is
Toll.
quite the badass. Mad respect for Judge Toll. Wow. Let me tell you just a little bit about her. She is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. I believe she's retired or close to retired. Yeah, retired, but she's here specifically for this case from the
Mm-hmm.
Supreme Court of South Carolina. She was the first woman to serve as a justice on the South Carolina Supreme Court. That she
Ooh.
took that seat in 1988, and she'd practiced law for 20 years before that. So, I mean, we're talking Ruth Bader Ginsburg era female judges that
Yeah,
female attorneys that turned into judges that fought their way all the way through
that's so cool.
the system. And she suffers no fools.
I bet.
And mostly Dick and Jim. And
And they are fools.
the way she masterfully managed those two today was, I would like more. Uh, because basically what they want to do, first of all, they wanted to subpoena the former judge and the prosecutor as witnesses.
I don't know that you can do that, can you?
Well, not in Judge Toll's court, you can't. She said, hell no to you. You're not doing that. Neither of them are witnesses. And I wouldn't want to talk to them anyway. That's not who I'm interested in speaking to. So
Right.
first she
Like,
said no to the egg lady, no to the alternative juror, no to any other members of the court. She said, if this happened and if this had any effect on the deliberations, that's the only thing I care about. The rest of this is
sure.
completely irrelevant. And or Dick just couldn't believe it. He just couldn't believe it. There was so much, but judge, there's a but judge. Well, they came in with a smoking gun today.
Oh boy.
They know why Becky did it.
Oh,
They
they
know why
do.
evil, devious Becky did these things. They know why. They know
Oh
why.
my goodness.
I'm going to show you a quick clip.
He told me this morning one of the assistants that worked for Ms. Hill during this trial was told by Ms. Hill during the trial that a guilty verdict would be good for sales of the book. Motive, selling books. So we believe we should be able to get into that. We should be able to ask Ms. Hill about it. If she denies it, to call that witness, that assistant, and have her testify.
Guilty verdict would be good for sales of the book. Motive.
Motive.
My Perry Mason moment.
Case
Yeah.
closed. Where's the evidence that that ever happened?
And the judge is like, the fuck? She was like, huh. And then she said to him something along the lines of, I hope that's the last time you'll be mentioning her book in this court.
That's so great.
She managed this fool like a boss.
Oh,
So
I
here's what it
love
boils down
it.
to. She will be questioning the jurors.
Yeah,
She only wants to talk to the jurors that deliberated. She basically says she'll have like two questions for them, essentially somewhere along the lines of, did you ever hear Becky Hill say anything like this? And did or would these statements have affected your opinion on whether or not you were going to find Mr. Murdaugh guilty? That's
right. I
all it
mean,
boils down to.
all the rest of it's just bullshit. That's all that matters is if they felt influenced or not.
hmm Uh, Basically, the standard is prejudice must be shown on the part of that's the defendant's job is to show prejudice here. And if they can't, they have no case. They were trying to
Well,
claim that the prosecution has to prove that she didn't say it, basically. And the judge is like, no, they don't. The
no.
prosecution doesn't have to prove anything. You are the ones that are making this claim. You're the ones that are making this uh, accusation. You're the ones that have to prove that there's prejudice here.
Yeah.
They did not get what they wanted in court at all today. They basically lost everything.
Good. Well, our whole legal system relies on the fact that we trust juries. That is
Mhm,
the way this legal system works.
mhm,
And just because she said some things like that, I mean, we all watched this trial. We all saw all the evidence against dumbass Murdaugh.
mhm.
Do you think it took the clerk telling them that he was guilty for them to know?
Right.
They clearly knew.
Mhm.
And I mean, Becky
Absolutely.
didn't, how did she have any authority over them to make them, make the decision she wanted?
She
She
didn't.
didn't.
She didn't. And but they are so hell-bent on selling their narrative that they've really got lost in the sauce and are trying to basically
Hmm.
just rewrite the rules here and tell the judge how things are going to go. And it's just not going to happen with Judge Toll at all.
Good.
She was so no nonsense. But indeed, like the whole thing is just it makes me nervous because I don't want to see another trial. It's ridiculous though, but honestly, these two, it's one of those that if you're going to go off the king, after the king, you better take off his head.
Yeah.
And they're not doing themselves any favors right now at
Mm-mm.
all. But they left looking real frustrated and defeated. Alex was very weird, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion. But I'll show you a couple of pictures of him. This was him coming into court.
Hmm.
Here's him sitting here while things weren't
Oh,
going so well. If you look at his
not looking
wrists,
so.
they
Yeah.
brought him in shackled and then took his shackles off for the hearing.
Wow.
This is a
Not
convicted
looking
murderer.
so confident there, is he?
No, looking real red faced,
Yeah.
but also he was very twitchy. He
Um,
could not hold still. He fiddled with his face, with his shirt, with his hair. He couldn't hold still during that entire thing. And I just kept looking at him going,
mm,
is this guy sober? Not saying
mhm.
he is or he isn't, but he was very twitchy in court. And I thought it was sus personally.
Does make you question it, doesn't it?
And if you're thinking, well, he's in prison, no way that could be. You're completely wrong because the prisons are
Uh,
absolutely full of drugs.
yeah. And maybe he's on something else because he couldn't get what he's been on, like
Maybe
I don't know. But he
he
doesn't look
just
like the confident, I'm the king of the world Alex that he usually looks like in court.
hmm The other thing that the judge said is that we're not putting this is not Miss Hill's trial. She said, I'm very, very reluctant to turn this hearing about juror contact into a wholesale exploration about every piece of conduct by the clerk alleged to have been improper on its own. indicative of her characteristics or personality or anything of that nature.
Right.
Basically, you're
She's
not
not
coming in
charged with
here.
anything.
Yeah, you're not going to be coming in here to be like, hey, Becky Hill sucks, so she did this for sure. She's not allowing any of that. She has
Good.
really, really scaled this down into exactly the box she wants it in. And a lot of the things that she said she wouldn't hear, Harpootlian's like, well, but then you won't know. You won't understand. And she's like, I think I'm intelligent enough to understand.
Right. I mean, because the whole point here is, did the jury feel, was there tampering with the jury? Did they feel influenced and feel like they had to, did it affect their
Yeah.
decision? That's the whole point here.
Hmm.
Everything else is moot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. I'm loving this judge.
Me too. Me too.
We
So that,
need more older lady judges because they don't
hmm
put up with shit.
nope. Nope. Oh,
Love
man.
it.
She was so deadpan.
Yeah.
I loved her. I did want to show you my favorite tweet of the day.
Oh,
This is
let's
from
see.
Call Me Chris, court reporter KG on Twitter. This is a picture of Dick, and it says, the expression of a gambler that realizes his all in bluff is about to get called.
Yeah. Well, they have gone so hard on this,
Hmm.
but judges are very hesitant to overturn a jury decision.
Yeah.
Very hesitant because
Hmm.
what kind of precedent does that set?
Exactly. And things like this, dragging a whole jury in to have to be questioned, jurors that felt like they had to lawyer up and are worried about their own legal status. All of these things that's a concerning thing to be putting juries through. Yeah. There
Yeah.
were some attorneys there, Eric Bland and his partner and another guy that were there to
Oh, good.
represent some of the jurors. And basically they were like, okay, judge, we agree. Because the judge said, we will not put in it. This will be held in open court, and it will be televised. However, none of the jurors will be shown on camera, and none of their names will be spoken on camera. They'll just be going by a juror
Good.
number. And Harpootlian's like, well, a bunch of them have already been on the news. I mean, they don't care. No, that was their
Yeah,
choice.
that
That was
was
their
their
choice.
choice.
And it's also legal. He acted like they've all been so bad and so wrong. That's their legal right, dude.
It
They can
is.
do that. And
Once
a
their verdict
lot
is
of them
in,
do that.
yeah, they have every right to speak. Once the verdict is in, they're released. They can say
Mhm.
whatever they want after that.
Yeah, yeah. So, but again, he acted like that was an attempt to defame the jurors. The judge is like, so? She's like, not in this courtroom. That's not how that's going to go. This isn't the news. This is a courtroom. And this is how we're
Right,
going to do it. And basically, the,
right.
the attorneys for the jurors were all like, yep, sounds good to us. We can live with that. So here we go.
Good.
Yeah,
I I so hope this does not result in a mistrial. I really do. And it sort of seems like it's not going that way, doesn't it?
yeah. I I don't know. I honestly, the legal world of Twitter and true crime have been pretty divided on this one. And the people who said this will never go anywhere, this is a bunch of bullshit, are really pounding their chests today, saying, see, I knew you guys have wasted all your time talking about this and worrying about it. And it was just a bunch of nonsense. And there's still others that are going, mm, I'll believe it when I see it. This is still very problematic.
The
We'll
thing is,
see.
Becky Hill could be real problematic and it still not be a mistrial, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Exactly. So,
She didn't exactly make the best choices in the world, but did she
no.
throw the trial? I just don't think so.
Yeah, that's kind of where I suspect we'll see the judge lean, but I don't know. I don't know. This one has really concerned me, so we'll see. But with that, Christy, there was also a huge, huge new charge filed today against Rex Heuermann. So tell us all
Yes,
about it.
there was. Let's talk about that. All right. So Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach killer, the Lisk killer, whatever we're calling him right now, because they're still determining how many of these bodies are attributed to him, has had a fourth body attributed to him. And this is Maureen Brainerd Barnes. and she was the fourth body. There were 4 bodies found that were all bound the same way in the burlap and everything. And the grand jury that we've been waiting on finally did come back and indict Heuermann for her murder. So he is now indicted for 4
Yeah.
of the Gilgo Beach, Long Island serial killer murders.
Mhm.
Not all of them, because there's about 12, but we now have 4 for sure.
Mhm.
So there was some DNA testing that they were working on to be able to charge him in Maureen's murder, and that has finally come through now. Yeah. So let's see. So he was charged with second-degree murder in her death. They've also filed an extensive outline of an updated, ratcheted up case that seemed to stun his attorney in court. Like
Oh.
from when they first charged him with the first 3 to now, they have a lot more evidence against him, which
Oh.
is great. So his attorney didn't really have anything to say and seemed pretty stunned in the hearing.
Mhm.
I think is pretty great because it tells them, uh, kind of gives us an idea that they have some very strong evidence against Heuermann.
Yeah.
So he, through his attorney, is still just maintaining his innocence in all the murders, but whatever.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
think that's pretty rough to say at this point. Um,
Mhm.
so Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup, and her daughter were both in court.
Wow.
They were, well, see, there's this whole situation going on where Asa is under contract for a documentary.
Right.
And ever since that happened, I think it's with Peacock or Paramount, one or the other, one of the P ones. Um, since that happened, she has started going to all of his hearings.
Mhm.
So she and her daughter were there.
So do you think that's a
Daughter's name is
part of her
Victoria.
contract that she needs to be
It
present?
it appears that it is
Mhm.
because she needs to be there and be filmed and be present. They did not speak to reporters,
Mhm.
but her attorney, Asa Ellerup's attorney, Bob Macedonio, told reporters that told, about the new details of the case
Yeah.
and said that all of this just reinforces that Asa had nothing to do with it, because that's the other part of this, is that some of the information that has come out does in some ways implicate Asa. Also, one of
Oh.
Asa's hairs was found on one of the bodies.
Mhm.
Now we know that could be secondary transfer, but there have been some concerns about some of the eyewitness testimony that's come forward,
Mhm.
that there were some things going on between Heuermann and Ellerup that involved some of these victims.
Right.
So part of it is they are just, I think she's just really trying to protect herself. And also, she's got a big financial deal with this situation.
Yeah.
Let's see. So one of the things we know is that, there were a lot of electronic devices that were recovered from him,
Mhm.
and some of the searches that he has made. And there were literal, between 2020 and 2023, there were hundreds of contacts with sex workers.
Mhm.
Hundreds. How many more victims does this dude have? That's what I think is scary.
Mhm.
Is do we just not know about another dump site yet? Like,
Right.
how, if he killed these 4 women and potentially more, um,
What don't we
you
know?
know, what
Yeah.
don't we know? I mean, they're obviously digging deep into him and everything that he's been doing since these murders occurred, because these murders are kind of old murders. There's a lot of time in between them and now.
Yeah.
So this is great news because it's one more victim attributed to him that's positive for her family.
Mhm.
But it does worry me, the more they come out with how much evidence they have on him and how much contact he was having with sex workers.
Mhm.
Are there a bunch of other dead women somewhere? Did he just change dump sites?
Yeah.
Big question.
It definitely makes you wonder. Yeah.
So I do have a little update in Sarah Boone as well. I wanted to give this just because it wasn't enough to be a thing all on its own, but I
Mhm.
thought talk about it. So here's Sarah Boone. She is the woman, she's the suitcase killer. She is the woman accused of uh, um, zipping her boyfriend up in a suitcase while they were playing hide and seek
Mhm.
and leaving him in there overnight.
Mhm.
And there's video of her taunting him and him begging to be let out and saying he can't breathe. It's really
Yeah.
terrible. And she has been through 4 attorneys now. And
Yeah.
so her trial has been delayed over and over and over
Mhm.
again because she is such a terrible person that
Mhm.
nobody can even stand to continue to be her public defender.
No.
So she supposedly had a pretrial conference of some sort today. There is no news on it that I can find at all. I only know that it was scheduled for today. So as far
I
as
believe there
we
was a
know,
continuance.
well, maybe there was, but as far as we know, there is still a trial scheduled to begin on January 29th for her.
Okay.
So I checked right before we started recording. Today is January 16th. It is 5:54 p.m. Mountain. So please don't at me if you find this information after the fact. But I've been watching all day to see if something would show up to
Mhm.
tell us if anything came out of that hearing. I
Yeah.
can't find anything that came out of that hearing. So as far as we know, she is really finally going to go to trial on January 29th.
Yeah.
So that would be good. I think that that would be justice finally for
Mhm.
this chick to get her trial is going to be such a freaking circus though because
Mhm.
she is a tremendously difficult human being.
Oh, she's the worst. Yeah. Her
She
letters
is
to the court.
they're awful. And so one of her previous attorneys quit because she would not stop calling them names. It's just so bad. Like, can you imagine an adult attorney finally being like, "Look, I'm not doing it. This is
Mhm.
never ending. I am done." But yeah,
It's
so
not
we'll
worth it
see.
for you to sit here and insult me. Wow.
Yeah. And if
Okay
more comes
then.
out, we'll update that on Wednesday night case updates. But as of
Mhm.
now, she's still going to trial on the 29th. So that is definitely
Okay.
a trial we have been waiting for because this
Mhm.
is a Taylor Shabusiness, Daryl Brooks kind of situation when it comes to the
Mhm.
trial. It's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah. It's going to be wild for sure.
Yeah.
Whew. One thing to back up to Murdaugh that I did not say is that
Oh,
Becky Hill will also be on the stand. I should have made
oh,
that
okay.
clear, but the
Well,
jurors
I'm
and
sure the
Becky Hill.
judge wants to talk to her, but
Mhm.
I mean, to treat her like she's charged with a crime is really overstepping.
Mhm. Yeah. Just to clear that up. But yeah. Alrighty. Well, we will be back tomorrow, Wednesday, for case updates. We'll be back tomorrow night at
Yes, we
7
will.
p.m. We will also be back tomorrow night for the watch party.
Yes.
And so we'll make an announcement on YouTube later tonight about what we are watching. So the watch party is a part of our subscription service here on YouTube. We're on YouTube. You can join that. It's
Hmm.
$4.99 a month. You just get to come and hang out. So you will stream whatever we're watching. We'll watch a documentary on Netflix. You'll stream it on your own device and we'll stream it on ours because we can't stream it because that would be illegal.
Hmm.
And we'll all watch it together and hang out in the chat room and chat about it. And it's really
Yeah,
fun. It's like
it
just a
is. It's
true
kind of
crime
great.
hangout time. Yeah.
Yeah, people like to bring their wine and their
Mm,
popcorn, and
mhm.
we'll watch something that's probably thought provoking or horrifying, or probably both.
Probably. Yeah. So that's what's up. What's coming. Then we'll be back on Thursday. Thursday's a really interesting trial day.
Hmm.
Uh or court day. Lori Vallow has court in Arizona. The
Hmm.
showdown here in Madison with Judge Boyce and Chad Daybell's attorney John Pryor who's asking to be removed will be happening. Maybe it won't be a
Hmm.
showdown. I think it will be, but maybe it won't be. I can't imagine how
Yeah.
mad the judge and the prosecutor are right now, but we'll see what happens.
Right. To think they have to push this back again, they've got to be furious.
But guess who else is in court that day?
Mm.
Melanie Pulowski.
Yes, that's right. Just
So we'll
all on the
stream
same freaking day.
Chad. I don't know if we'll stream Lori. If we can, we will. Probably won't stream Melanie, but we will tell you about it. So those are the
Hmm.
things that are happening the rest of this week. It is just court, 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 court. It's wild.
It is wild, and to have all 3 of those hearings on the same freaking day.
Hmm.
What are you doing?
Wild. So,
Making our lives hard. That's what.
yeah, please take good care of yourselves. You are worth it.
Mhm,
We'll talk to you soon. We'll be back. Please come join the live stream on Wednesday night on YouTube or on
mhm,
Facebook. That is fun. We have a lot of chatters that come and talk true crime with us, and it's awesome. So be there.
mhm.
That's all the good stuff. So thanks so much for
Yeah.
being here. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.